Have you ever thought about how it feels to be in the shoes of someone who is often overlooked, who works tirelessly behind the scenes without receiving the respect they deserve? Imagine a world where, for just one day, a famous celebrity, used to admiration and attention, disguises themselves and works as a cashier in a busy store. What would happen when they experience firsthand the disrespect that service workers often face? Song Hye-kyo, one of South Korea's most beloved actresses, is about to find out. It's a regular morning at a bustling department store. The air is filled with the sound of shopping carts rolling, customers chatting, and the ringing of cash registers. The cashier lanes are busy, each person at the counter processing transactions with speed and efficiency. The staff members, dressed in their uniforms, move quickly from one customer to the next, trying to keep up with the constant flow of people. In a corner of the store, Song Hye-kyo stands, waiting to begin her shift. She's wearing a simple uniform, an apron, a name tag, and a cap that covers her hair. Despite her fame, she looks like just another worker in the store, a far cry from the glamorous actress everyone knows her as. She wanted to experience the life of a cashier, to see what it's really like for those who often go unnoticed by the public. At first, everything feels normal. She's introduced to the team, and they don't recognize her. She's just another person here to do a job. As she stands behind the register, she feels a mix of excitement and curiosity. She wants to see how customers will treat her, how they'll respond to the service she provides. She's used to being treated with respect, but today, she's determined to see how things play out when no one knows who she is. The first few customers are polite, offering small pleasantries as they check out. Song Hye-kyo quickly gets the hang of the register, scanning items and processing payments with ease. For a while, it feels like any other day at work, and she finds herself enjoying the simplicity of the task. There's something humbling about being on the other side of the counter, doing a job that requires focus and patience. But then, a situation arises that tests her resolve. A middle-aged man approaches her register with a full cart of groceries. She greets him with a smile, ready to process his purchase, but as she begins scanning the items, he starts making rude comments. "Is this really how slow you all are?" the man mutters, his voice dripping with condescension. "This is ridiculous. Do you even know how to work this machine?" Song Hye-kyo is taken aback by his harsh tone, but she remains professional, trying to keep her composure. "I'm sorry for the wait, sir," she says politely. "I'll get you through as quickly as possible." But the man's frustration only grows. "Honestly, I don't know how they hire people like you for jobs like this," he continues, speaking louder now. "You can't even do something as simple as scanning groceries without messing it up." The other customers in line glance nervously at one another, but no one steps in. Song Hye-kyo feels the humiliation creeping in. She knows she's doing her best, but this man's harsh words are starting to chip away at her confidence. She can feel her face flush with embarrassment, but she pushes through, telling herself to stay calm. As the man continues to berate her, the store manager walks by, noticing the interaction. The manager approaches, clearly concerned. "Is everything okay here?" the manager asks, trying to diffuse the tension. The man doesn't even look at the manager. "This is completely unacceptable," he snaps. "I'm being treated like garbage by someone who clearly doesn't know how to do their job. Do you even train these people?" Song Hye-kyo's heart sinks as she realizes the situation isn't going to end anytime soon. Her hands shake slightly as she finishes ringing up the man's items, handing him the receipt and his bags, doing her best to maintain a neutral expression. She feels small, invisible, and unimportant, like the man's words are being reflected back at her. "Have a nice day, sir," she says, her voice tight but polite. The man leaves without another word, but his cruel remarks echo in her ears. As the next customer approaches, Song Hye-kyo can't shake the feeling of humiliation that lingers in the air. The experience leaves a mark on her. She came into this job wanting to understand the daily struggles of workers who often go unnoticed, but she didn't expect to feel so small, so disregarded. It's a stark contrast to the admiration she's used to receiving as an actress. Today, she's just another cashier, struggling to maintain her composure in the face of unwarranted criticism. But little does she know, the situation is about to take a surprising turn, one that will shock everyone involved. The rest of the day passes slowly for Song Hye-kyo. The weight of the humiliation she felt earlier lingers, but she pushes it aside, reminding herself that this experience is exactly what she wanted. She wanted to understand the challenges faced by service workers, and she had certainly gotten a taste of it. As the hours pass, she processes more transactions, keeping her head down and doing her job, trying to forget the harsh words of the man who had berated her. But as the store starts to quiet down in the late afternoon, something unexpected happens. A woman in her late 30s steps up to the counter, a warm smile on her face. She places a few items down, and as Song Hye-kyo begins scanning, the woman strikes up a casual conversation. "I have to say," the woman says, "you're doing such a great job today. I've been in your shoes before. Working as a cashier is never easy, especially when people can be so rude." Song Hye-kyo looks up at the woman, surprised by her kindness. She hadn't expected anyone to acknowledge the challenges she was facing, especially after the earlier incident. "Thank you," she says, feeling a small sense of relief at the woman's words. "It's definitely been a bit of a tough day." The woman nods sympathetically. "I can imagine. I worked at a coffee shop for years, and the customers weren't always the nicest. But you know, it's all part of the job. What matters is how you handle it. You've got to rise above the negativity." Song Hye-kyo smiles, grateful for the woman's insight. "You're right," she says. "I guess I just need to stay focused and keep going." The woman finishes paying for her items and hands Song Hye-kyo a small tip, which is uncommon in this store. "For you," she says with a wink. "It's a reminder that there are people out there who appreciate what you do." As the woman leaves, Song Hye-kyo stands there for a moment, looking at the tip in her hand. It's a small gesture, but it means the world to her right now. The kindness of a stranger has renewed her sense of purpose, reminding her why she wanted to do this in the first place: to understand, to empathize, and to use her platform to make a change. But just as Song Hye-kyo is about to take a deep breath and settle into the rhythm of her shift, another customer walks up to the counter. This time, it's a young man in his 20s, dressed casually. He looks at Song Hye-kyo for a moment, and then his eyes widen in recognition. "Wait a minute," he thinks. "Isn't that Song Hye-kyo? The actress?" He squints, trying to make sure. The woman in front of him doesn't seem to notice, focused on scanning the items in front of her. But the more he looks, the more he's convinced. He decides to test his theory. "Excuse me," he says, leaning forward slightly. Are you Song Hye-kyo?" Song Hye-kyo's heart skips a beat. She hadn't expected anyone to recognize her. She had done everything she could to disguise herself, to blend in as just another cashier. But now, she realizes that her cover is blown. She hesitates for a moment, unsure of how to respond. The last thing she wants is for the attention to shift back to her celebrity status. "Yes," she replies, trying to keep her voice steady. "It's me." The young man's eyes widen even further, and he smiles. "Wow. I can't believe I ran into you here, working as a cashier. This is so cool. I've seen all your dramas." Song Hye-kyo smiles politely, feeling the familiar sense of attention that she's used to, but she's also aware of the customers around her who are beginning to listen. She knows that once word spreads, the store will be buzzing with excitement. But what happens next takes her completely by surprise. The young man, still in awe of her presence, leans in a little closer, his voice lowering to a whisper. "You know, I thought you'd be different in person. A lot of celebrities are really rude when you meet them, but you're so normal. You actually seem like a regular person, not like you're above anyone." The words catch her off guard. It's a compliment, yes, but it's also a reminder of the privilege and perception that come with being a celebrity. Song Hye-kyo realizes that, in this moment, she is both a regular person and someone who is constantly being viewed through the lens of fame. It's a delicate balance that she has struggled with before. She glances around the store, noticing the other customers who are now listening to the conversation. She feels their eyes on her, and she knows that the dynamic has shifted. What had been a quiet, ordinary day is now infused with the kind of attention she's used to receiving. But instead of feeling flattered, she feels something else, something that's been bubbling up since the moment she first stepped behind the counter, the desire to be seen for more than just her fame. "Thank you," she says to the young man, her smile now more genuine than before. But I'm just like anyone else. I wanted to experience what it's like to work in a job that so many people depend on. To really understand what it takes. The young man nods, his smile broadening. That's really cool of you. I respect that a lot. As he finishes his transaction, he leaves with a newfound respect, not only for Song Hye-kyo but for the workers who serve him every day. The moment is subtle, but it speaks volumes. Song Hye-kyo watches him leave, and as the next customer steps up to the counter, she feels a shift in her own perspective. Today, she's experienced both the sting of being humiliated and the power of being recognized for who she truly is. In the end, it's not the fame that defines her, it's the way she chooses to use her voice to elevate others. The rest of Song Hye-kyo's shift passes in a blur, but the impact of the day's events lingers in her mind. She's never experienced anything quite like it before, the sharp contrast between the anonymity of being just another worker and the attention that comes with being recognized. But the most important lesson she takes away from the day is not the fleeting fame or the sudden recognition, it's the deeper understanding of what it means to be treated with respect, no matter who you are. As she walks home that evening, she reflects on the man's comment about how she seemed normal. She can't help but feel a sense of validation, not because she wants to be recognized or admired, but because, for the first time in a long while, someone saw her for more than just her celebrity status. In a way, it felt good to be treated like an ordinary person again, free from the expectations that usually come with her fame. She realizes that it's a privilege she often takes for granted. The next day, Song Hye-kyo returns to the cafe for another shift. This time, she's even more determined to see things through. She's not here just to experience what it's like to be a cashier, she's here to learn, to grow, and to understand the real struggles faced by people who work in service roles. She's not just an actress on a mission to find new material, she's someone who wants to make a difference in the way people see the workers who help make their lives easier every day. As she approaches the counter, the same young woman from yesterday walks up to her with a friendly smile. "Hey, I remember you," she says warmly. "You're back again today. I didn't expect to see you again so soon." Song Hye-kyo smiles back, the excitement of the day before still fresh in her mind. "I wanted to come back. There's so much to learn, and I feel like I've only scratched the surface of what this job really entails." The young woman laughs softly. "I get that. It's not just about ringing up purchases. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't realize. I think it's great that you're really taking the time to understand what we do. Not many people would do that." Song Hye-kyo's heart swells with gratitude. "I really appreciate your kindness. It's been eye-opening, to say the least. And honestly, I've learned more in these last 2 days than I ever expected. But there's one thing I'm still trying to figure out: how do you stay motivated when people treat you like you're invisible?" The young woman hesitates for a moment, her smile fading slightly. "It's hard, honestly. Some days it feels like we're just a means to an end. But you know, it's important to remember why we're doing what we do. We're making people's days easier, even if they don't always appreciate it. And at the end of the day, we have to remind ourselves that we matter." Song Hye-kyo nods, feeling the weight of the woman's words. "You're right," she says softly. "We all matter. No matter what job we have, we all contribute in our own way. And we deserve to be treated with respect." The young woman smiles again, the warmth returning to her eyes. "Exactly. And I think if we all remember that, we can make this world a little bit kinder." As the shift continues, Song Hye-kyo's resolve strengthens. She knows that, while her time as a cashier is temporary, the lessons she's learned will stay with her long after she leaves the job. The respect that she has always sought from others isn't just something to be given, it's something to be earned through the way we treat others and the value we place on the work they do. By the end of the day, the store is quieter, and the shift is almost over. The same customers who had come through earlier in the day are starting to leave, their purchases in hand. A few of them stop by Song Hye-kyo's register, giving her a nod of appreciation. One customer even thanks her for her patience and kindness, a simple acknowledgement that makes her feel seen. In that moment, Song Hye-kyo realizes just how powerful a kind word can be. When her shift finally ends, she leaves the cafe, feeling a sense of accomplishment. The experience of working as a cashier has been humbling, eye-opening, and, above all, enlightening. She may have been humiliated earlier, but in the end, it was the unexpected moments of kindness and recognition that made the experience worthwhile. As she walks through the city streets, Song Hye-kyo makes a promise to herself: she will continue to use her platform to shed light on the importance of respect, not just for those in service roles but for every person who contributes to society in ways that often go unnoticed. She may be an actress, but she now understands that true recognition comes from treating others with dignity and kindness, no matter who they are or what they do. The next few days bring even more clarity for Song Hye-kyo. As she continues her work in the store, her perspective on the world shifts. She begins to realize just how easy it is for people to take service workers for granted, how often they overlook the hard work and dedication that go into every transaction, every interaction. But she also sees something more powerful: how small acts of kindness can completely change someone's day, and in turn, their life. One afternoon, as she's working the register, a young man walks up with a handful of items. He's quiet, and Song Hye-kyo immediately senses that something is different about him. As she scans his items, she notices that he's looking at her, his eyes filled with hesitation, almost as if he's uncertain about how to act. "Hi, how are you today?" Song Hye-kyo asks gently, trying to make him feel comfortable. The young man looks up, surprised that she addressed him so warmly. I'm okay," he says, his voice soft. "I just needed to grab a few things." She smiles, but she notices that he's still avoiding eye contact, his hands fidgeting nervously. "Is everything all right?" she asks, a little more concerned now. "You seem like you have something on your mind." For a moment, he hesitates, but then he takes a deep breath. "I don't really know how to explain it," he begins, his voice trembling slightly. "But I've been feeling really down lately. I've been working a job that doesn't make me happy, and I'm just not sure where I'm going. I've been trying to keep everything together, but sometimes it feels like it's all falling apart." Song Hye-kyo listens intently, her heart aching for him. She knows that feeling, those moments of doubt and uncertainty that can feel overwhelming. But she also knows how important it is to have someone listen, someone who acknowledges your pain. "I'm really sorry you're feeling this way," she says quietly. "But I want you to know that it's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to feel lost sometimes. You matter, and what you're going through is valid. But if you keep going, I promise you'll find your way." The young man looks at her, his eyes searching her face for sincerity. He doesn't know why, but he feels a weight lift off his shoulders. Maybe it's because of the kindness in her voice or the way she genuinely seems to care. "Thank you," he says softly. I really needed to hear that." As he leaves the store, Song Hye-kyo feels a sense of fulfillment that she hasn't felt before. It's not about the transaction or the work, it's about the connection she just made. It's a reminder that sometimes, a simple act of kindness can have a profound impact on someone's life. The next few days unfold in a similar way, with Song Hye-kyo finding herself in more and more meaningful conversations with customers. Some share their stories of struggles and triumphs, while others simply thank her for her patience and kindness. Each interaction leaves a mark on her, reinforcing the lesson she learned during her time as a cashier: respect, kindness, and empathy are not just important, they are essential for creating a better world. One afternoon, as she takes a break outside the store, her manager approaches her. "You've really made an impact here, the manager says with a smile. "The customers love you, and you've really changed the atmosphere in the store. We've received so many compliments, and honestly, I think we've all learned a lot from you." Song Hye-kyo smiles, her heart swelling with pride. "It's not about me," she replies. "It's about the people who work here, the ones who make everything happen. It's about respecting them, recognizing their hard work, and treating them with dignity." The manager nods, clearly impressed by her perspective. "You've shown us all how important it is to really see the people around us, to understand their struggles, and to never take them for granted. I'm really glad you're here." As the days go by, Song Hye-kyo continues to use her time at the store to learn and grow. She's seen firsthand the challenges faced by workers in service roles, but she's also witnessed the power of respect and kindness in transforming lives. Whether it's a small compliment, a kind word, or a simple acknowledgement, every interaction matters. And Song Hye-kyo is committed to making sure that everyone is seen, heard, and treated with the dignity they deserve. But as she nears the end of her time working at the store, she knows that this journey has only just begun. Her mission to raise awareness for service workers, to advocate for their respect and recognition, is far from over. This experience has ignited something within her, a passion to continue speaking up for those who are often invisible in society. As she leaves the store for the last time, Song Hye-kyo reflects on the lessons she's learned. She may have started this journey seeking to understand the struggles of others, but what she's found is that the real lesson is not just about recognizing the value of others, it's about recognizing her own responsibility to use her platform to create a world where everyone is treated with kindness and respect. As Song Hye-kyo steps away from her time behind the register, she finds herself reflecting on how much this experience has changed her. It wasn't just about learning the value of service workers, it was about learning the value of human connection and the importance of acknowledging the struggles and hard work of others. She realizes that the lessons she has learned during her time as a cashier have extended far beyond the store. They've influenced the way she interacts with everyone she meets, whether it's on set, with friends, or with her fans. Her efforts to raise awareness about the treatment of service workers have taken on a life of their own. People are starting to talk more openly about the importance of respect for those in service roles, and the conversations are spreading. In interviews, Song Hye-kyo shares her experiences, urging others to see the people behind the roles. Her story of disguising herself as a cashier, facing humiliation, and finding strength through the kindness of strangers becomes a symbol of resilience and empathy. One day, she receives a message from an organization dedicated to advocating for workers' rights. They want her to be a spokesperson for their new initiative aimed at improving the working conditions of service employees around the world. The initiative focuses on ensuring better wages, more respect, and an overall positive environment for workers who are often marginalized or mistreated. Song Hye-kyo feels honored to be a part of something so meaningful, knowing that this is the next step in her journey. "I believe that no one should ever feel less than because of their job," she says in a public statement following her acceptance of the role. "Everyone deserves to be seen for their humanity, and we must all work together to create a world where kindness and respect are at the forefront of our interactions." As her work with the organization progresses, she starts to notice more changes in the world around her. The conversations she has with customers and co-workers are now filled with more empathy and understanding. She hears stories of people advocating for themselves, standing up against disrespect, and demanding the treatment they deserve. It's clear that her efforts are making a tangible impact. However, despite the success of her campaign, Song Hye-kyo remains grounded. She continues to make time for the small, everyday moments of kindness that made her journey so meaningful. One afternoon, while out at a cafe with a friend, she witnesses a barista being scolded by a customer for a minor mistake. Instead of walking away or ignoring the situation, Song Hye-kyo steps up to the counter, addressing the customer directly. "I understand your frustration," she says, her voice calm yet firm. "But we need to remember that the people behind the counter are doing their best. Mistakes happen, but they're not a reflection of someone's worth. Let's treat each other with respect." The customer, taken aback by Song Hye-kyo's words, looks around at the other patrons who are quietly watching the exchange. The tension in the air begins to dissipate, and the customer, now embarrassed, mutters an apology. The barista, visibly relieved, thanks Song Hye-kyo for speaking up. The situation is over in a few minutes, but the impact lasts much longer. The barista smiles at her, and a few other customers thank her for stepping in. It's a small victory, but to Song Hye-kyo, it's a reminder of why she started this journey in the first place, to stand up for those who often feel unseen and unheard. To be a voice for the voiceless, and to show the world that kindness, respect, and empathy can change everything. As Song Hye-kyo walks away from the cafe, she feels a deep sense of peace. She has spent much of her career seeking validation from others, but now, she realizes that the most important validation comes from within. The journey of self-discovery, the understanding of her own worth, and the power of kindness and respect are what truly matter. And as she reflects on everything she has accomplished, she knows that the work isn't over. There's still much to be done, more conversations to be had, more people to inspire, and more moments of kindness to share. But Song Hye-kyo is ready. She's not just an actress anymore. She's a catalyst for change, and she will continue to use her platform to make the world a better, more respectful place for everyone. As Song Hye-kyo moves forward with her new purpose, she is approached by even more individuals whose lives have been touched by her story. The movement she started is gaining ground, and it's no longer just about one actress who worked as a cashier to understand the challenges of others. It's a global conversation about respect, kindness, and the humanity of every person in the workforce. One afternoon, she attends a press conference where various news outlets are gathered to ask her about her campaign and future projects. As she steps up to the podium, the room falls silent in anticipation. The reporter leading the discussion asks her how she plans to continue pushing the message of respect for service workers. "I believe," she begins, her voice calm but filled with conviction, "that real change comes not from big gestures, but from the small, everyday interactions we have with each other. The way we treat people when we think no one is watching, that's what really matters. My goal is to create a ripple effect, where one act of kindness leads to another, where respect becomes the norm, not the exception." Her words resonate in the room, and as the reporters ask their follow-up questions, Song Hye-kyo can feel the genuine shift in the way they approach the conversation. They are no longer just asking about her fame or her role in the campaign, they are asking about the impact she is having on the world. After the press conference, she spends some time speaking privately with the organizer of the workers' rights organization she has been collaborating with. They discuss the next steps in their campaign, and she is introduced to more individuals who have been affected by her work. She hears from a woman who has been working as a cashier for years but had always been treated as invisible, her hard work unrecognized. After hearing about Song Hye-kyo's story, she started to demand more respect at her workplace, and her life has taken a turn for the better. "I'm not invisible anymore," the woman says with a tear in her eye. "Your story gave me the courage to speak up. I realize now that I matter, that my work is valuable." Song Hye-kyo smiles, feeling a deep sense of pride. "You've always mattered," she says softly. "You don't need anyone else's approval to know your worth. I'm glad my story could help you see that." Her work begins to snowball, and soon she is invited to speak at universities, at conferences, and at gatherings for those in the service industry. She shares her experiences, how working as a cashier made her feel both humiliated and empowered, how small acts of kindness helped her see the importance of every person, no matter their role in society. But despite all the recognition and success, Song Hye-kyo remains humble. She continues to take time for the small moments, those fleeting interactions that remind her why she started this journey in the first place. Whether it's thanking a barista for a well-made coffee or speaking up for a worker who was being disrespected, she knows that the power to create change lies within each of us. One day, while walking through a busy street, Song Hye-kyo stops at a crosswalk and watches a group of workers as they clear the sidewalk. She smiles at them and, without thinking, approaches one of them. "Thank you for your hard work," she says sincerely. "You're doing an amazing job." The worker looks up, surprised by the acknowledgement. "Thank you, ma'am. We really appreciate it." Song Hye-kyo nods, a small smile tugging at her lips. She knows that this small moment might mean a lot more to the worker than she can imagine. It's these moments of connection, of giving people the respect they deserve, that she values most. As she walks away, she realizes that the change she's been striving for is already happening. It may not be immediate, and it may not always be obvious, but it's happening. And it's happening because of the people who are beginning to understand that respect is not just a right, it's something that must be given freely, to everyone, regardless of their job or status. As Song Hye-kyo reflects on her journey, she feels an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. She didn't just disguise herself to understand the struggles of others, she did it to show the world that we are all worthy of kindness and respect. From the moment she stepped behind that counter, she became part of something bigger than herself, a movement that continues to grow and inspire. And as she continues to advocate for service workers, she knows one thing for sure: no matter where her career takes her, she will always carry this message with her, using her platform to ensure that every person, no matter their role, is treated with the dignity they deserve. So, if you've made it this far, type respect in the comments. Let's continue to spread the message that kindness, dignity, and empathy should guide every interaction we have. Together, we can create a world where every person is seen and valued, no matter their job, background, or status.